Hey y'all! Today we're going to learn how to make grits. But as every good Southerner knows, good grits means creamy grits. So we're going to work on some creamy grits. What you'll need to make delicious creamy grits are, first of all, grits. Now, I like the Quaker Quick Grits. Don't get the instant because it's not the same. And the regular grits will just take forever to make. I mean, seriously, like an hour. So get the quick Quaker Grits. It says 5 minutes, but for creamy grits, it's going to take a little longer. We'll need a medium-sized pot to cook your grits in, water, butter, salt and pepper, and the coup de grace, although it's optional, but I don't have grits without it, American cheese. Now you'll also need some measuring cups to measure your grits and your water out. And that's about it. The instructions for making grits are right here on the side of the box, but we're only going to follow the measurements and even so adjust those a little bit. So it says stovetop. We're going to do the stovetop, never the microwave. We're going to be making 1 serving of grits today. The directions on the box call for 1 cup of water, so we'll go ahead and put that in the pot to boil and fill up your measuring cup again with water because we'll be adding it continuously throughout the cooking process. And it calls for a 1/4 cup of grits. We'll be using a heaping 1/4 cup. Make sure it's less than 1/2 cup, otherwise you'll just have a plethora of grits for yourself, but definitely a heaping 1/4 cup. And although it says salt is optional, we'll be adding salt to the grits also. The secret to creamy grits is to stir. You really need to stand by the stove and stir pretty much the whole time you're cooking, or else the grits won't get that nice thick consistency, and you could also get lumps. And lumps in grits just means that there's dried grits inside of the balls, and that's just gross. Nobody wants that. Also, you're going to need to add water about every 3 to 5 minutes after most of the water cooks out of the grits in your pot. When you see the water in a rolling boil, meaning big bubbles all the way to the top, it's ready to add your grits. So we're going to pour the grits in, stirring while we're pouring. So we're going to stir, make sure all the grits comes off the side. After you add the grits, let's turn the stove down to medium. Otherwise, the grits are going to pop and splatter and it can get in your eye or burn you. I know, I've been burned by grits. It does not feel good. So we're going to make sure to turn this down to medium. And then we can also monitor how it's cooking so it won't cook too fast and won't stick and burn to the bottom of your pot. So we'll just stir and stir and stir. Make sure we get all the grits off around the side. And as it cooks down, we'll just keep adding water a little bit at a time and stirring. And after you add water about 4 times, you'll see the grits is becoming creamy. This is how the grits will look when it's almost done. You can see that the water doesn't really separate from the grits and it has a creamy consistency. So we'll just keep stirring. Alright, the grits are done. I've gotten out my spatula so we can get all the grits off the side of the pot. You see how it kind of just moves as a mass now? And here we have our creamy grits. So let's take it off the stove and we're going to add the final touches. Turn off the burner. So we're going to add about a tablespoon of butter. Stir it in. Now we're going to add the cheese. 1 slice at a time. Keep it in the pot. The pot's nice and hot. It'll melt almost instantly. I like to cover it up with the grits, kind of let it melt in there. And then as you stir, it stirs the cheese right in your grits. Now we're just going to add some salt and pepper to taste. And pepper. Stir it up. And let's get it in a bowl. Look at that. Nice and creamy. Now to try the finished product. For under $5, you have a hearty, delicious, whole grain meal for you and your family. Enjoy and bon appetit!